Hello and welcome everybody to another edition of the Playbook for Performance podcast. This is also available on YouTube. You can follow along video-wise if you'd like to. This is number 77. We're talking about making your work an extension of you, and this is part of our 20-week challenge to build resilience. We're on number 15 of the 20 weeks. So let's get started. So when do I suggest this lesson? When people are really feeling like they're a cog in a wheel. Their work isn't really aligning with their values. They want a bigger life. So work can meet a lot more needs than just earning money. Your life's work is one that utilizes your gifts, and you can take the time to discover what is your life's work. So, when I was teaching this regularly in corporate, probably one of the biggest pauses that my students had with this lesson is, I don't have time to be Gandhi, and I feel badly about that. And I had to remind people that sometimes, being a provider for your family is your life's work, or caring for a special needs child is your life's work. We're not all supposed to be Gandhi. Gandhi had a lot of followers. Same with Mother Teresa. We look up to those people because they're so devoted and they make such drastic change. But those drastic changes don't happen if they don't have the followers and the people behind the scenes. And that means people who are, sweeping the sanctuary. That means people who are doing the accounting for the donations. That means people who are organizing and, making sure meals are prepped for these people. And none of that is any less noble or any less important. In fact, Gandhi and Mother Teresa would not be those people without you. If you're one of those kind of helper behind the scenes people, we are grateful for you. Those things are needed, absolutely. And so if historically you have felt like you were lesser than because you couldn't do more than what was you're being called to do in the moment as a parent, as a provider, etc., please don't feel that way. That is a noble cause. And lots of us out there are saying prayers for you every time we encounter you. It is important work, and thank you. Thank you for doing it. So I wanted to make sure I addressed that because I didn't have somebody live in the classroom raising this or putting it in the chat. But it really is important, and that is a gift to be able to do that. Not everyone can be a provider. Not everyone can care for a special needs child. Not everyone can deal with hardships that you are facing. And so do recognize that is where you're supposed to be in this moment. And it is utilizing your gifts. Don't think that it isn't, okay? So let me speak a little bit more about this idea, because we can optimize that routine. We can make it as enjoyable as possible with some intention. So when you think about your duties, whether it's being a provider, caring for someone with special needs, to being the person that has special needs, think about that routine. Do you enjoy it? Well, of course, there are some things that are chores, but there are other things that we could upgrade or string together that would make things more pleasant. And so can we, put sort of an interior decorator frame or lens on it? How could we make it more enjoyable? Would it be to include other people or do it at a different time of day? Things like that. Can it express your values? So for a long time, I was a leader of a PMO with like 35 project managers. And project management is project management. But how people do project management makes all the difference in the world. So I could have people have equal results when it came to the page, but when I would interact with the teams that they were managing in order to accomplish the work, if someone was dry and studious and didn't have any humor and, wasn't particularly cheerful. They were getting the work done. They were efficient. But did people want to be on their team again? Well, it wouldn't kill them. But then if I had another project manager who was very thoughtful, went out of their way to greet them or champion them or congratulate them on both personal and professional accomplishments that were happening along the way, those are the people that the teams wanted to work with again. And so can you either incorporate more of those people into your life as you go through these routines, or can you be that person for someone else? To choose that positive attitude. And here attitude comes up again. We're going to be talking about that next week. Can you ensure that people stay up? Can you make it more playful? Are you leveraging the gifts and talents and then placing them upon the values that you have? And sometimes, those intersections don't fall into a standard role. You might have to invent a niche. And there are plenty of people who have come up with some pretty compelling niches out there that have become amazing companies. And so maybe that's the way to make things happen for yourself. And in that case, what skills would be wise to upgrade for that intersection or that niche? If you decide you're going to be the person that everybody wants to work on your next project, maybe you want to start interviewing people and saying, what is it that makes work fun? What is it that makes it more enjoyable, rewarding, versus just kind of going through the motions? So, what are the benefits of having your work be you, an extension of you and your values? You're going to enjoy the work more, that's for sure. You're going to be working with your gifts and your talents in an area that you value. So, and what I mean by that is, let's say that you have a passion around childhood cancer and you're a project manager. If you can be a project manager in the most cheerful way, because that's your gift, you're a natural encourager, and you can do it for the National Cancer Society or a Dornbecker's Children's Hospital or something like that, then that is an example of your work being you, right? You're doing it the right place. So in the book Traction, we talk about right person, right place, wrong person, right place, or vice versa. The right person always is the one that shares the values, gets the vision, is in alignment, right? The other pieces have to do with capability and skill set. Can they execute the job as they're designed to do? If not, let's find another place for them in the company because they're the right person. It's just the wrong job for them. Versus they could be awesome at their job, but they don't take the values seriously. They might misrepresent the company. That's wrong person no matter what the job, right? They need to leave the company. And so when your work's you're always the right person and you're always in the right job. So that's how we want to think of it. One of my favorite quotes is from Dave Packard that said there are no bad actors or bad performers. I already screwed up the quote. But they're just actors miscast in their role. So let's not have them be playing Romeo when they should actually be a different role. Let's get them into the right spot. So a little bit more on this. You can learn and serve more if you are mastering the areas and you are really enthusiastic about that versus the limited capacity if you're not that interested. And you can master your delivery in terms of getting better and better about anticipating situations that come up with childhood cancer, as a project manager. Okay. So, don't forget, if you want our theme sheet, it's available at the site. We'll put a link below. A rising tide does lift all boats, so we want you to encourage your colleagues to join you. Invite your family and your friends. We want you to grow together. I also want to mention my book is now out. It's a little difficult to see in this lighting, but meet me in the middle. This is a guide to overcoming polarization and preventing polarization in the workplace. Many of my clients talked about the challenges of having diverse opinions and not being able to agree to disagree and getting on the same page so that we can have a much more productive workplace and a much more pleasant workplace. So be sure to check that out, and you can find the book on my website or at Amazon or Ingram, any of those. So, okay, until next week, take good care, everybody.